All right, welcome back. As disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein completes a week-long stint in sex rehab, he is facing multiple sexual assault investigations spanning the country and globe. Police in Los Angeles, New York, London are all looking into multiple claims of Weinstein's unwanted sexual advances on women going back decades. This all happening as the number of women coming out against the producer grows to more than 40. Here you see 17 of the names and faces. Let's discuss with our legal guys right now. Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor in Cleveland, and Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. Good to see you both.
Good to see you, Rebecca.
Okay, so Richard, you first, because when we talk about allegations that span decades, first comes to thought, statute of limitations. But in some cases, there really is no statute. So define how prosecutors, investigators will go about, trying to see if they can potentially impose charges against this producer.
Okay, Frederica. In most cases, civil assault is usually a one-year statute of limitations. So those are gone in the majority of any of these cases here, if that even occurred. Criminally, many jurisdictions do not have a statute of limitations for sexual assault. But you have to understand, Fred, Harvey Weinstein has become the face of the visceral disgust for the casting couch culture in Hollywood. If a young person, an actress or an actor, meets with him and he solicits them to give him a massage or watch him take a shower or have sex, that is not criminal, Fred. And at that time, that person has a right to say, yes, I'll participate in hopes of a benefit, or no, thank you, and walk out the door. If they participate, Fred, that's consent. That's a total defense, and there is no claim here for that.
So then, Richard, there are a variety of, accusations here. You talk about, Richard, the Rose McGowan, Utah, and alleged sexual assault. Richard, you talked about, massaging and how you define that as, consent if the person does, carry out the massage. That reminds me of the Lupita Nyong'o, most recent allegations that's, how she was approached, from him. So you have all of these varying types of experiences and different jurisdictions. At what point might all of these jurisdictions try to work together or, compare and contrast these allegations before setting out to pursue any types of charges?
Well, they may try to gain information to find some sort of similar conduct in the other jurisdictions, but they're never going to work together, Fred. And with respect to Ms. McGowan, I don't know if she was raped or not. And if she was, that's tragic and that's horrible. But she didn't go to the police, and she didn't file a complaint, and she didn't compile DNA evidence, and she didn't press charges. She didn't do any of that, Fred, and that's what you have to do.
Except, that becomes so common in so many alleged rape cases because, of so many circumstances. There's fear, there's shame, and sometimes people are worried about, what will happen next in terms of the consequence of not being able to work, etc. So that isn't necessarily an admission that it didn't happen at all.
But you're talking about a criminal crime here, Fred, and there's a burden of proof that has to be sustained. And the fact that they fear coming forward does not sustain that burden of proof, Fred. There's a burden that has to be met. If it's not met, there's no conviction, and there's no convicted crime. That's the fact.
All right, Avery.
Any non-consensual touching is a crime. If that occurs, you have to move forward and press charges. You have to do it. You can't hold back and then 20 years later say this happened. You're never going to prove.
We'll leave it right there. Richard, Avery, thank you so much. Always good to see you.